there were palm trees on 495. I wish there were palm trees.
Welcome to another episode of the 495 Podcast. I'm your host, Mike White, and with me as always is co-host
Nick Esposito.
We got a great show for you today. This is a wedding theme show, wedding parties, wedding planning, the good, the bad, the crazy. We're here with three professionals.
We have Benny from Benny Migs Photo. We got DJ Phil Vollaro of After Hours Entertainment. And we have Dusti. Where are you from again?
Fire Monkey Hair Design.
Fire Monkey Hair Design.
Dusty, what's your last name?
Napolitano.
Awesome. So how you guys doing today?
Awesome.
Good.
Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this was a great idea. Whose idea was this, by the way? Was it
Nick's.
yours, Phil?
Yes. No. We interviewed Phil about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then Phil was like, you know what? Let's. I want to do this again. This was kind of fun. And then I was like, we kind of all came up with this idea.
So that's why you're here.
Yay.
It's like a wedding showcase.
Here in Benny's beautiful office.
Yeah.
Yep, Benny Migs headquarters at the top of the World Trade Center. Doesn't even exist anymore. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was brutal.
We'll get into some 9/11 stuff after.
Who's editing this?
That's my fun job to do.
Well, we're here on this beautiful, sunny Patchogue.
And this is the 495's episode number 19.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool too.
Awesome.
All right, so let's get into the thick of things. There's so much to talk about when it comes to the wedding season. And me, I'm a newly engaged guy.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
Good
much.
for you, Nick.
That's really why we're doing this today.
Yeah.
I wanted to get some insight on how I can get the best deals possible on these
Discount.
different. I'm just kidding. No, but it is a stressful process as someone going through it right now. On there's all these types of different vendors and venues, and there's all kinds of awesome stories that I'm sure that these vendors are going to share with us today. Some of the experiences that they've seen out in the field. But let's go through each one of you guys real quick, and let's kind of just start off. We'll do it light, do it fun. What you guys love about your job. So we'll start with Benny first. What do you love about your job?
Give us a quick little introduction, Benny. Who you are, what you do, too.
Sure, my name is Benny Migliorino. I got the name Migs from my 8th grade history teacher, and it just kind of stuck with me, and it's easier to spell. I've been in the photography field, this is 19 years now. Never wanted to photograph people, never wanted to do portraits, never do weddings. I wanted to be a National Geographic photographer. When I realized it's hard and there's not much money in it, I was working construction at the time. My boss had a cousin who had a studio out in Levittown, Long Island. We did some work at the studio. He introduced me. Felice Photography was the studio. Joe Felice gave my number to one of his best friends, Bart Stevens, and I assisted my first wedding in 1999, and I kind of got hooked from there. When you're doing weddings, you're photographing people, you're photographing food, you're photographing jewelry. It's a little bit of everything, so it's a great learning experience. So for someone who does not want to do weddings, you learn a lot from doing weddings, and working under pressure helps too.
And it's journalistic in nature too, right? You're capturing special moments between people, between parents and grandparents and kids, and I'm sure
Yeah, I mean, there's different. The photojournalism was something that was kind of big in the 90s. Not that people are still doing it, but there are a little more people, a little more into the formal end of it now again. It just switches from time to time. Photojournalism was big, though, the black and white, kind of candid. But you get people who come to you like, I want you to do my wedding photography. I don't want to pose. And you shouldn't hire a photographer then. Right. You're hiring somebody for their skills, and my skills making you look good. And then I don't want to hear you complain you don't look good if you didn't let me pose you.
Right. Good point.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Very nice.
So our next victim, DJ Phil Vollaro.
Well, thank you. How's everybody doing today?
What's going on?
Good.
Great.
So let's go through your brief little background. You were born in Bayshore. Islip, go ahead, take it from there.
I was born in Bayshore. I was a very crazy kid, so my parents bought me a drum set, so it was nice and loud growing up, banging on drums. And I had a band, then I started doing weddings, and then I got to the DJ field because I worked for a couple other companies out on Long Island. And here I am today. I've been doing it since 1996. I love my job. Yeah, it's very stressful, but I love what I do.
Dusti, you're up next.
All right. Dusti Napolitano. I own and operate Fire Monkey Hair Design. Originally from California, started doing hair for our first 8th grade dance in 1993.
You both got beat now. 96, 93.
Right. 8th grade, though, so, you can't really be a professional. But ended up going through beauty school finally in 2006. Started my company in 2008. 8-ish. But really just wanted to do special occasion hair. Not a fan of the cutting and the coloring. There's really no creativity in that for me. But with weddings too, there's nothing more awesome than walking into a job and just being surrounded by just love and excitement. And it's not even really like your love and excitement. It's just an awesome, awesome day. And then you leave totally bummed out because you're totally missing the party. But everybody's excited and ready to go and looking absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
Happy anniversary. You made 10 years.
Yeah,
11 years,
I
right?
totally did. Yeah,
I
it's
could do math.
still rolling and doing well. So it's awesome.
Phil, when did you start DJing? 8th grade or later
Um,
in life? There's always that 8th grade DJ
Right.
working all the backyard
no, I was a
parties.
drummer, so I was always banging on stuff. I started doing the DJ thing around like 97.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old were you then?
Oof, by like 20, 21.
Okay. A couple years older than I graduated in 97. What did you graduate, 96?
97.
97.
Yep.
We try to get everyone's ages out on the table there.
Yeah.
I'm 40. All right.
Oh,
Getting there.
Betty looks great.
Right?
And we're all from Long Island, but you were born in California?
Yes, from California. I moved here. When did I move here? 2004. Christmas
Wow.
of 2004.
What part of Long Island did you move to?
Well, my husband is originally from Centereach, so he recruited me to the middle of Long Island.
Everyone's from Centereach, man.
That's where we're from, yeah. Suffolk
I
County.
actually, I was there at the airport to pick Dusty up her first time in Long Island.
Yeah, yeah,
How do
yeah.
you two know each other again? You know each other, correct?
He
Not just from,
lived right down the street from my husband, so he's very good friends with my husband.
You guys used to ride bikes together?
Yeah. I've been friends with her husband since kindergarten. We met at the bus stop.
You guys
Wow.
used to put salt on slugs together during the summertime?
They totally did, yeah.
Who wrote the Huffy and the Mongoose?
We had a red line and GT.
No way.
Rich
My
boys.
favorite.
So in the field itself, I mean, you guys are. There's a bunch of you guys, at any given wedding. There's DJs, there's photographers. Is there a synergy when you guys are all working together? Is there a rivalry? Like, what's it around when there's all different vendors working one event?
Yeah, do you all secretly hate each other?
It's going to depend from vendor to vendor, honestly. I get along.
Yeah,
I get
it
along with
depends.
most of my vendors. I never had really have any issues. Usually, photographers have usually issues with the video guys.
Right.
I do video. I don't do wedding videos, but I know how it is. They have to get their job done too, so I just try to stay out of their way. If it's someone I haven't worked with before, I'll give them a call a week or day before the wedding, just introduce myself, make sure we're not gonna get each other's way. I've never had issues with vendors though, honestly.
So I think you have the rivalry too with the hairstylist and the makeup artist,
Makeup
just
artist.
as far as
Excellent.
timing and how things are going. But for the most part, you work together. You have a start time and an end time, and you have to make sure everybody's ready to rock to hand off to our photographers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big thing. I really try to make sure that I have good relationships with photographers, that we're not running late. Because if the hairstylists and the makeup artists run late, then we're running late for the photographers, which in
everything.
turn
It's a domino
screws
effect.
up the
Yep.
With a
whole
wedding.
day.
And a lot of times, I mean,
You better be a morning person, right? You guys get
And
up-
I'm not a morning person. I so enjoy lounging in PJs, but for weddings, like I am up and at 'em and we're ready to rock, because if we don't do what we're supposed to do, it spirals and it can screw up the whole day.
hair and makeup screw up the entire timing of the day. And it's not always their fault. It could be a bridesmaid got there late, or a bridesmaid just was unhappy with something and they want to do it all over again. But
We end up also booking in extra time for that, or putting the smack down and being like, hey, listen.
Right.
Yeah.
Not about you today.
Yeah, your timing is a little crazy,
Right.
so yeah.
Well, we don't see you because you're at the house.
No,
But
yeah,
you
no.
see Benny because you're there doing photos at the house.
Absolutely.
So DJs never see hair or makeup.
Who do you deal? What vendor do you deal with most as a DJ?
Photography, video.
What about when there's a band and a DJ? Is that tension?
Nah,
or
that
what?
never happens. Maybe once, like in a year.
Well,
yeah.
you book
Gotcha.
percussion also and stuff, right?
Oh yeah,
But
but
you guys come in a drum circle?
yeah, we do the drums, the sax. Maybe once in a while, like the bride will say, "Hey, I have a Greek band, and you guys are gonna DJ." Then all we do is clash and fight because they're idiots.
Right. You get the Sinatra. You book the Sinatra singers. And
Yeah, I have a guy who does that too.
They
Yeah,
roll up and sing New York, New York.
yeah, of
and-
course.
And that's life. That's
Yeah,
nice.
my way. But yeah, we get all that time I met Benny, so he's mad cool. We gel together, no issues.
Yeah.
But sometimes there are issues with vendors. They don't get along. They don't know what they're doing. So
A lot of times it could be, for photography and video, the venue could really throw a wrench in the works too.
Oh, sure.
If it's a venue that has multiple weddings going on at the same time, I plan, depending how the day is. Sometimes the bride and groom see each other beforehand. Sometimes they don't. But if we're short on time, I need to bring them out for photos. But there's another wedding going on where the maitre d' says, "Oh, you can't bring them out because God forbid 2 brides see each other at the venue."
Right.
All hell breaks loose apparently.
God forbid.
But that's usually the biggest issue I would have with another venue. It's just usually set scheduling and trying to find
Sure.
time for portraits.
You don't want 2 lionesses
Well,
running
like we were
into each
talking
other.
about before, a venue that has like 4 or 5 rooms, and there's a bar mitzvah going on, a sweet 16, 2 weddings,
Yeah.
and like a corporate party, and you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, so if you're looking to book a wedding, try to find a venue that only does 1 wedding at a time.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to get into as well. Each one of you, could you guys give like a little tidbit of advice about your respective, your jobs and stuff? Like, what could you tell people that are searching for a photographer, what to look for, searching for a DJ, what should they look for, searching for everything else, like
You, because you're engaged, you're getting married.
exactly. So I need to jot all this stuff down on a paper. So Benny,
I mean, for sure. I mean, obviously the first thing that's going to come to everyone's mind is how much do you cost, which is it's a reasonable question. There are a lot of people, at least I don't know how it is for you guys, but at least for photography, the people they price shop, they try to find the cheapest person.
Yep.
And I'm not saying there's bad photographers that are more inexpensive, but when you're spending, say you're going to spend $1,000 on your wedding photography and it's crap at the end of the day, was it really worth spending that $1,000 or spending a little more extra to get someone who have a bit of quality?
Yeah, that's something you're going to keep the rest of your life.
It's the one thing. The flowers.
Over time, what's the extra $2,000 going to cost? What's that going to look like in 50 years?
Your flowers are gone at the end of the night. Your food is gone at the end of the night. The only thing you're going to remember is probably you're going to have the photos to remember and possibly video, and you're going to remember the entertainment as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And how good your hair looked.
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta remember all
Exactly.
those things.
That's
But because I help her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, who did
And
your hair in your wedding?
budget is super important, but there are people out there also that charge an arm and a leg for hairstyling, and it's
It's not
They're
as
not
good.
delivering a better product.
exactly, and it's all relative too, where you need to stick with your budget, but you also then need to hunt down who within your budget is going to do exactly what you want to do. There's people that have, specialties. I mean, Benny was talking about like photojournalistic stuff and whatnot. And, there's photographers out there that do way more photoshopping than they actually do planning out their shots. There's hairstylists out there that, don't really do updos. They only do down hairstyles, where you have to take that in consideration. Also, how do you want to wear your hair? Do you want it to be, a stiff pageant look all night, or are you looking for soft and romantic? So that's where like Instagram and Facebook, where you want to look at people's portfolios. Same thing as like, the photographers, you want to look at their portfolios and see if there's something that, totally jives with what you're envisioning. Because at the end of the day, all your vendors are going to bring your wedding to life.
And how do you pick out a DJ?
That, in this day and age, it's the easiest thing to do because there's DJs everywhere on every street corner, every town, every catering venue. So with the this day and age we're in with internet and social media, it's so much easier to find somebody.
What should people be looking for if they're going on your social media page, other DJs?
I should be looking for a really good DJ, has talent, knows what they're doing. Because everyone's a DJ
How
now.
could not to keep pressing this thing? How could you ascertain that from going to a DJ's Facebook page?
Not just Facebook. You got to see them in action,
so that's what
live.
I'm
Go
getting
to
at.
a bridal show, see them perform.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just pick somebody because you don't know. Like Dusty said, there's a million DJs out there. Can they mix? Are they good? Do they have talent? Just because they bought a pair of JBL speakers doesn't mean they're a DJ.
Yeah.
And this goes for every vendor, not just
Oh, yeah.
DJ, but
Everything.
check reviews.
Yep.
Yelp, Google, check people's reviews.
Facebook.
There's website, there's forums dedicated just to wedding. There's a forum just for Long Island weddings.
Right.
Check.
But what you said was even more important. Yelp, Facebook, you can't take those bad reviews off. That is the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to pay like $10,000 to Yelp to take it off, they won't take it off.
And I wanted to hop in on that point that you guys mentioned about reviews and all that stuff. So I've been on The Knot, The Wedding Wire, but every time, I don't know if it's just me, if I'm the anomaly, but every time I go on those sites, like every venue, every vendor that I see, all of the reviews on those things everyone has 5 stars.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're all great. Yes.
So like, what is like a good place to kind of get a more accurate depiction?
Google.
Yeah, Google. Yeah, I say Yelp. I mean, I have a Yelp account. I get a lot of reviews on Yelp, but Yelp, so I don't know how they work. That I have reviews that they held back for some reason. They're great reviews, but
The
they're
strange
sold
thing
out.
Stop right there. I found out. No, I called Yelp. Same thing with me. I have like 150 reviews on Yelp, and they show 10. On the bottom of that page, you have to go down. There's a little bit of a link, and it says to see more reviews that are not recommended. Click here, and you're going to see 100 reviews pop up for you that are all 5-star. When you call Yelp to complain, they want you to advertise.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Or even when you
That's how
advertise,
they
they
get you.
because they Yelp. I don't. They're gonna whole Yelp tangent here.
No, yes, it's about reviews.
I don't advertise on Yelp.
Neither
I don't
do I.
pay for advertisement on Yelp. I have a
Right.
free account. When I got the account, I just had some clients say, "Hey, if you're happy with my service, leave me a review." When I started getting reviews, Yelp calls you.
They call you every
after
week.
day after day. But I asked them that even with a paid account, they can't
Nope.
unhide those reviews.
But they don't tell you that because they want you to advertise first. Then they
strange.
say, we can't help you.
Even with the restaurants, they kind of emphasize frequent Yelpers.
Yeah.
And I get that to an extent, but you know, in reality, people who are like taking to Yelp every time they go do something in their lives.
But that's the
seem
day
like
and
a
age we
little off
live in
to
now.
me,
That's
you know?
what millennials do.
I'd rather get a
Everything they
review
do.
from someone who just happens to be so inspired by someone that they wanted
True.
to go on Yelp once in
Right.
their lives. You know,
But
I
even-
think there's a lot of validity to a review like that versus some nut job that does it every day.
And if you're unsure just about the reviews, if find the people who left the reviews and just reach out to them personally. Drop
Yeah.
them an email or message. Say, hey,
Yeah.
I saw your reviews. Curious how your experience was with so-and-so vendor.
I just wanted to jump in real quick. I guess my fiance really wanted to be a part of this podcast because she's called like 46 times on the Facebook Live.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Hi.
So our Facebook Live is probably going in and out if people are.
Good thing you put that on airplane
She
mode.
does have a point considering that, you know, the females are normally the ones that do the majority of the wedding planning.
Yes,
True.
but
So
with
that
same-sex
makes
weddings
sense.
these days.
That's right, which we do
Yes.
a lot of.
Do you think
a
she's
lot.
Yes,
the
yes,
audios
yes.
off? Or?
No, I think she's calling because we actually had an issue with my engagement ring that I got her.
Oh, what happened?
No, so I think one of the stones is loose already. So,
What happens when you get a Crack-a-Jack box?
so she spent a lot of money on that ring.
Did she really? Wow.
And you know, because it's, I mean, you know, none of us are ring vendors, but it's like, you know, you spend all this money. My mom's like, I've had my ring for 600 years, you
Yeah.
know? And it's never been, you know, loose. And you spend thousands of dollars on a ring, and it's like I was like, you
Yeah,
know,
well, tell her
it's about
that'll
a
be
year
part
old.
2 of the podcast.
Yeah.
Talk about rings.
I just wanted to
Ring
throw that in
vendors.
there.
Juliet, if you're listening, you could text me, and I could
Text
tell.
you?
Yeah, because she can't text the Facebook Live.
He's
You're not gonna be
so
able to read-
worried about the audio. yeah.
No,
I'm
because
sorry.
when people call, it kicks out this Facebook Live, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
All right. So just let's go back to.
No, shut the voicemail. But real important, you know, when you guys are shopping for a ring or anything, whether it be a car, wedding stuff, I always look up reviews. Even on Amazon, it takes you to Google. And you see like 10 people said really great things, 10 people said bad things. I think for the wedding industry, that's very important because you can't lie about that. You go to a catering hall or a vendor and you see.
And you know what reviews are, you know, are
Legit,
valid or
yeah.
legit. You know what, you know, somebody. I mean, I had an issue once where I got contacted on Easter. You know, Easter, it's a holiday. You're trying to be with your family and whatnot. And I didn't respond to the bride. And the next day she left me a bad review on the Knot because I just didn't
Yeah,
respond
that's
to her.
uncalled for,
And I find that, you know, things like that, it's like, hi.
Right, but let me stop you. If I read that, me being a very smart person, half of Long Island isn't, you would say, what's up with her? Why is she so whacked? The lady, it's Easter. It's not like you did the wedding. It's not
probably
like you
mentioned
botched
it was
up her
Easter.
hair.
Yeah,
It's not
no,
like you
she
didn't show
didn't-
up.
yeah, she didn't
We're
mention
talking
it
about
was-
something like really?
Yeah.
And those are the women we speak about, all the men that sit home all day and Yelp everything.
Yeah.
I went to the diner.
Yeah.
I didn't get a fork. I was walking. I fell through a pothole, and they complain about everything.
Yeah, but that's, you know, there was no mention of Easter. It was just kind of like,
Right.
hey, I can't get a hold of her. And
Yeah,
it was-
see?
Respond back.
it's a Sunday. I did. I totally did. Where I was like, you know what? I'm so sorry. We ended up, you know, working it out, but it was kind of like, hey, you know, I know that there's a sense of urgency to book your vendors, but, you know, weekends, that's when we work. You guys kind of have to chill out, wait, you know, give us a minute to
And you're right.
get finished and respond
was
and
a holiday.
collect ourselves. Yes, and it was a holiday where it's like,
We're not
don't
talking
bother
about
me on
President's
Christmas.
Day. We're not talking about Martin Luther King Day or, you know, Black Friday.
Absolutely,
We're talking about Easter.
absolutely.
Is that tough being weekend warriors when like the rest of the world are hanging out and partying and having
It's the
fun?
job we chose. That's what we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, it's cool. You miss out on some
TGIM.
things here and
Thank
there,
God it's
but
Monday.
yeah, if it's that important or something's coming up, you know, people will definitely say, you know, hey, look, we're planning this. We have to work it around your schedule. We know that you work on weekends, and when can we do our, you know, kid's first birthday or our own wedding or
Right.
whatever? So, you know,
Dusty, I'm just curious for both of you guys. What is your average day? How many hours for an average? I know it's going to vary, but
Average, say it's 6 to 7, depending on travel time and whatnot. I mean, it depends too, because if we have a 4 a.m. start time done by 7:30, a lot of the times I'll book, another wedding that doesn't start until 9 o'clock, and then we're done by, 2 o'clock. So that's, travel time and waking up and everything, sometimes 12 hours. So it really depends on the day.
Well, you have us beat. You do 10 to 12 hours.
yeah, I mean, my contracts are 9 hours. That's 9 hours of coverage. And if you, depending where it is, I've traveled to.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, your average New York wedding is around 10 hours, though, I would say.
Yeah, a regular wedding is 5 to 6 hours. Then you have to do travel, arrive, set up. So for me, it's an 8 to 9 hour day.
Yeah.
Now, these guys, at the end of the night, they're done.
Right.
I still got another year with these clients.
You're done.
I have another year with them. Give or take, depending how fast they get back to me. Because
Sometimes, though, hunting down photographs and this and that, when you're like, dang,
Yes.
that bride looked amazing. And then, trying to track down extra pictures, this, that, whatever else, that can be taxing.
Now, at what point, as you drive upstate, at what point do the weddings turn from the weddings we're familiar with to the weddings in the back of, like, Denny's?
I've done weddings.
Church
happens so
basements.
fast.
I mean, at least for photography, I'm sure it's similar to you guys. They say if you get photograph a wedding in New York, you can photograph anywhere in the world.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's probably like somewhere between Putnam County and Essex where the weddings.
The whole
turn
tri-state
bizarre.
area is beautiful. Connecticut, New Jersey. New Jersey's got the most beautiful catering halls and areas to go. New York, as soon as you go upstate and you're going like 6 hours away, it's horrible.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
The venues don't know how to run a wedding, or it's in a barn.
The limousine's 30 years old.
Oh, forget about it.
You
I
get,
do have to say,
you
I
get
think
linens
that-
for your wedding gift.
Right. I think that you get the most bang for your buck on Long Island, though.
Yeah.
With what you've got the full bars, you've got DJs that know what they're doing, you've got photographers and everybody that knows what they're doing, because Long Island has built the wedding business. So for the money, you're getting a tremendous
Let's
amount.
go with this. Do you get calls to travel?
Yeah, and I will travel as long as
sure.
people are willing to,
Hey. Right.
absolutely pay for
You get those
hotel
calls.
and travel.
I'm getting married upstate, 6 hours away in Geneva or this, or in Pennsylvania. We don't have your caliber of vendors where we live. I go, okay, you got to pay. You got to put me up. Hotel, it ruins my whole weekend. Especially you, because it's a whole day with them.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I just did a wedding in Colombia last year. I did one in Bahamas. They fly, they got to fly me in, possibly an assistant too. I'll work with them because I have an assistant on
These are
every
Long
wedding.
Island people that are down there, right?
Yeah, I do a lot of destination weddings here too. People come, like I do a lot of stuff on the East End, Montauk, the
Yes.
Hamptons. People who are coming in from outside of New York that want to get married on our East End, and they reach out to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I had a good question. I can't remember it.
All right, so let me hop in real quick. So I mean, we kind of went into the good stuff, the fun stuff, and a little bit about what to expect, and for vendors and stuff. But let's get let's get a little deeper now and get into like the
Who wants
conversation.
the good stuff?
I want to get to the good stuff. The reason people actually tuned in, except for maybe
No
we're trying
names.
so you guys experienced tons of different weddings and parties, and
Just witnessed a lot of drunken people.
a lot of drunken
Sure.
people, a lot of messy
Well,
people.
you don't. We get them after. So
No, sometimes they are drunk first thing in the
Really?
morning.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
They wake up with the mimosas, but all right. So
Yeah.
let's kind of go into some different experiences that you guys have seen over the years. Phil, in our first podcast with him, he went over a litany of different things, but maybe we'll start with him because he said that he's seen everything, and he's seen sex, he's seen fights, he's seen drugs, and we didn't get to the drug part in the first one. So let's start with
I
you.
get off of drugs all the time. I was doing a wedding, and I'm at the bar right after the first dance, and the best man's like, yo, you want some? And he pulls some coke out of his pocket. I'm like, bro, I'm the MC. He's like, yo, you don't do any? I'm like, no, I'm running the wedding. He goes, come hit me up later. I'm like, bro, we're in Woodbury. We're not in freaking Harlem. So then I'm doing another wedding, and I was at Gurney's Inn. And I got done, and we're packing up, and somebody from the bridal party came over. He goes, yo, we don't live around here. We're from out of state. He goes, where can I get some good stuff? And I'm like, what do you want? you want something to drink? You want pizza? He goes, no, I want whatever you're on. Pizza. I go, bro, I'm not on anything. He goes, oh, you look like a guy that can get drugs. I'm like, bro, I'm dressed up in a suit. What the hell? I could do your taxes. What are you talking about?
Oh, man.
I'm like, I don't have any drugs for you. And they got all bummed. I'm like, do I look like a druggie? Like,
So all right, so let's segue over to Dusty. So
Do you see drugs in the morning?
There's a lot of Xanax going around. Sometimes, there's some.
is it the
some
bride?
weed smoking.
Is it the bride or is it the?
I think it's a little bit of everything. The mother of the bride. Sometimes, sometimes the bride. I get offered mimosas and stuff all the time, and I'm like, guys, I got hot tools that are right next to your head. That's not really smart. I'm good, thanks. I'm good, but a lot of it just there's a lot of nervous energy because things haven't really started yet, and normally we're okay, and then the photographer shows up, and that's when the real nerves set in, and that's when the heavier drinking starts and the pot smoking outside and whatever. But I think it's more just to calm the nerves because they don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, they're not looking to get whacked.
Yeah, it's just
trying to
kind of
take the
like,
edge off.
holy crap, I'm getting nervous. The butterflies are coming, and oh god.
But have you seen someone get whacked to that point, like early in the morning? It was kind of hard to operate.
I like how you said no, though.
Yeah, you know what? It's few and far between. I haven't really had too many like bridezillas, too many crazy things go on. But from what I've experienced, the ones that are bombed out of their minds are also the ones that don't necessarily want to do what they're doing, and we end up hearing not too far out that the divorce has happened, which unfortunate.
Wow.
But the ones that are just out of their mind and not having a good day just aren't really wanting to be there anyways. So.
All right, I got a good question for Benny. What's one of the weird? So you pose them first of all, right, for your shots mostly?
Yeah, I mean, I do the family. I mean, my posing is more directing than posing. I don't really think I'm like some photographer from the 80s. Yeah.
But is there special requests? Like, is there is there ever a time like the bride and the groom wanted to be in some weird kind of pose or something like that?
Yeah,
Sexual position.
like a twist.
I mean, I always
Something odd. I don't know.
I mean, I always give the bride if they want to make a Pinterest board and kind of share with me because what their inspiration is. I also all of my packages include an engagement session because I want to, and I don't charge them for that session because I want to get them in front of the camera before the wedding. I want to kind of see certain angles they might not like, or let them see how I work. I want to see certain angles they don't like, or sometimes the groom hates to be in the photos. Sometimes the other way around. The groom loves the photos and the bride hates them.
Yeah.
I've never had any crazy poses, I would say.
I love the photo you did with the couple in the back seat of the truck, and you just see their feet dangling out.
Yeah, I mean, usually the craziest poses are coming from me. I'm like,
That's awesome.
if I see something cool, I'm
It's
like,
a great photo.
like you guys trust me? Like, yeah. Like, oh,
We're doing that.
Yeah.
Nick, for your wedding, we'll put you on the hood of the car,
So
naked.
So you mentioned that you sometimes have grooms that don't want to take the pictures and they're kind of bummed out or annoyed by it, or sometimes it's vice versa with the female. What do you do to kind of like get it to all work and make these pictures come out? Because
Honestly, a lot of that
Does the
happens.
truffle shuffle.
A lot of that happens before the wedding. Because the wedding's not the first time I'm seeing these people. I'm seeing them probably 5 to 10 times before the wedding. So I'm building a relationship with them. Engagement session. They come in here I'm seeing them probably 5 to 10 times beforehand. So they trust me before the wedding even starts. So I just have a relationship built with them. I can understand if there are some studios who it's not the right or wrong way where they might not know your photographer is like the month of the wedding.
Yeah.
Now you've never seen these people before, and it's hard to kind of communicate with somebody who's never met before. Now
Yep.
I've been with these. Usually they book me. An average is a year in advance, so they have a year of training with me before the wedding day.
At that point
good.
of the wedding day, you're kind of like old friends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll make stupid, corny jokes. I don't care if it makes me look stupid. If it makes them laugh and they add an expression, I don't care. If
Tell
it
us
works,
some
it
of
works.
these jokes. Do you have like a?
recall them right now.
I'm ready.
There's no jokes.
Oh,
you know?
come on.
Use the same lines over and over again.
I might. I just don't realize it. I might.
But all right, so when you guys have been in the wedding industry for a long time now, all three of you collectively over 30 years probably.
No, we're looking at like 60 years, right?
Okay,
20 years each.
30
No.
collectively.
Collectively.
30. Let's stick with 30.
Okay,
30.
30.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, whatever. Forget that number. You guys have been in the wedding industry a long time. So you guys, I obviously have been to weddings when you guys aren't the vendors, correct?
Oh, yes.
So have you guys, when you're attending these weddings, or like, you've been to hundreds of weddings yourselves, or been a part of hundreds of weddings yourselves, have you guys like, Or you guys kind of get like nitpicky, yeah, like that DJ kind of sucks, or
Sure.
that bride's hair is horrible.
That's our
I look at
nature.
Or it's like, or you're
everybody's
like,
hair.
or if you're Benny sitting in the back, like,
Sure.
what the hell is that photographer even doing?
Absolutely.
I almost always have my camera when I'm a guest. I was the best man at Dusty's wedding, and
Yep.
I wasn't the photographer, but I had my camera with me. It's just
good.
something I always have.
That's awesome.
And it stinks because some of my favorite pictures are Benny's, and we didn't even pay him. And I was like, man, the professional photographer didn't get the
Benny,
stuff
I want you
that
to do
Benny
my
did.
bris.
It's next week.
But that's funny because if you're like a chef and you go out to eat with your wife at a restaurant, you're always critiquing. That's just our nature. That's
Absolutely.
Because we're professionals. That's what we do.
Do you guys ever like, hey, DJ, like I've been doing this for a while. It's like,
Nope. I never go
You
up
never
and bother anybody. I just keep it to myself.
I'll never approach, unless it's like a lot of times I'm friends with there's a lot of photographers on the island, and when people might not realize, we actually get along pretty well.
And we all
help
know each other.
If I'm booked on a date, so I don't book multiple weddings on the same date. I'm the only photographer. So the client comes to me, they're sitting with me, we meet them for the first time. I'm doing all the retouching, I'm doing every shoot. So if I'm booked on a date and someone comes to me, I'll refer them to another photographer friend of mine.
Yeah. I will say it's kind of not building on what you just said, but it just reminded me that like I would say once a summer, your job is to like bail out someone's nephew who just shit the bed at some wedding. Like
Yeah.
That's happened.
you know,
yeah.
like
Sure.
it happened.
I got a call.
It's had to happen at least
I'm not
four
going to throw
times.
names out, but I was on a train to New York City to a tattoo convention. I got a call from I'm a house vendor at a Montauk Yacht Club. Like, hey, I know them over there very well. She's like, hey,
Ooh, this was a good one.
we're not naming names. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way to a tattoo convention, because I do a lot of tattoo photography as well. She's like, could you shoot a wedding today? I'm like, I'm on the way to the city. You're like,
On a train.
You're on
You're on the
Montauk.
opposite ends of the island.
And she told me who the client was. Apparently, the photographer never showed up. And when I found out who the client was, it was B-list celebrity, I would say. I hopped off the train, got back on the train, got home, and 5 hours later, I was there. So I mean, a lot of times I'm bailing people out. Just what happens, the couple forgot to confirm their photographer and forgot about it, and had the same issue with the florist also. So the Amanda, who was her name from the yacht club at the time, she kind of helped the bride, found another florist, found another photographer.
Jeez. Should
So
it
what
really be
happens.
on the bride to confirm these things?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No, it shouldn't be. It should be
like
50-50.
15
If you
confirmations.
signed a contract and you know we're coming to do your wedding, you should contact the bride as well. You got to do finals with her a month before, a week of. Hey, you're all set. We'll see you Friday. Don't forget your balance is so and so.
And like I said, I have a year's relationship with the clients before the wedding. So I'm always calling them a month before the wedding
Right.
just to go over final details.
That's why you want to go with Benny.
555.
And
Alive.
I'm averaging every year. I probably get one cancellation, and they don't reach out to me. I find
Nope.
out by reaching out to them, or
Yeah.
I got to call the venue because I haven't heard back from the client.
So let's get real.
We got to talk about that.
Let's get real a little bit more here. And as vendors yourselves, what pisses you off the most from clients? Like, what is like something that like nitpicks you guys that a client does that?
You really want to know?
Yeah, no. Let's be real. Let's
All
talk
right,
about
here we
that.
go. When I meet with bride and grooms, we joke around and everything, and pretty much 90% of them let us do what we have to do. We do listen to them and take what they want to do in stride and say, yeah, we can do this, recommendations, but you're hiring a professional to do your day. Just like you bring your car into a mechanic and you drive a Mercedes. You don't go in there and go, well, do the oil change this way or do that. They know what they're doing. So you have to put all your trust and rely on the, professional to do what they have to do to get the job done. That's why you're paying X amount of dollars to do that. Not hold our hand and tell us how to do it, when to do it, this way, that way, don't do this. Then it's not a happy medium.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I've never had a bridezilla or a groomzilla.
Really?
I get lots of
It's you, Benny.
bridemaid-zillas and lots of
the
mom-zillas.
meanest.
Wow.
And it's annoying when I'm on a day shooting and the bride's like, why? Or the bridesmaid or mom's like, why are you shooting them there? Why are you doing it this way? Why are you doing it that way? Like, they're trying to tell me how to do my job.
Yes.
Drives me
Yeah, they
crazy.
get like kind of the bridesmaids or the maid of honor. Sometimes will get a little too like proud and puffy. And
Sure.
It's usually it's usually like the maid of honor.
Yeah,
or the
maid of
mom.
honor or the mom,
I'm
yeah.
in charge. I'm here to make sure everything goes right.
And that's why what
Even
you
though I have
just
zero
said,
skills to do that.
what Mike just said and what Benny just said, our job, all of us right here in this room,
those people
is the hardest job in the world. You want to know why? Smile. It's customer service. You do want to tell them, go F yourself, but you smile, get the job done to do it your way and their way and make one person happy, the bride.
Absolutely.
That's why it's the hardest job, because other people cannot deal with what we deal with.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you guys seen a bunch of nasty people.
Oh, yeah.
It may not even have been the bride or the
Oh,
groom,
no.
right? It could
Yeah.
be someone coming up, maybe like
Yep.
one of the sisters of the bride, like, hey,
Yep.
what are you doing to my sister's hair?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah. 9 times out of
guest.
10, it is not the bride that has an issue that
My
morning.
sister-in-law.
Yeah.
What do you guys tell us, guys? You guys just kind of have to, roll off your shoulder. You're just like, hey, it's. I can imagine it being very hard for you guys to not freak out when you guys know what you guys are doing. You've been in the industry so long, you're professionals, and then you got crazy drunken people like trying to tell you how to do your job.
Yeah, because people,
Yeah, you do a lot of, just like you said, like, smiling and, hey, everything's going to be all right. This is what we discussed at the trial, or this is what she wants, or her hair can't do this or that, or, you have to trust me because what you are asking for is not going to work. And I mean, and we have so many issues the major issues that we have with hair is like down hairstyles. On a humid day, this is not going to work. We're going to have to do it a little bit tighter. Just bear with me, or it's super windy. We got to do it a little bit tighter. It's going to look exactly how you want it to. And just not trusting the professional. We do this every single weekend, up to, 4 or 5 times a weekend, depending on how many things that you book. And, hundreds, if not thousands of weddings where we know exactly how to get from point A to point B, and you have to just trust the process at times and just let us do our thing.
Yeah, you're dealing with so many backseat drivers probably.
Absolutely. That, okay, you curled your hair once and it was great, but, hey.
She has them in the morning. We get them later at night
Exactly.
when they're drunk.
And that's the thing, too, where you have to think about it. We're doing your hair at 9 o'clock in the morning. It has to last until, your cake cutting sometimes at 11 o'clock at night. We know how to get you there the best way possible.
And with hair and makeup too, I mean, Dusty could speak to this. Doing hair and makeup going out to night, opposed to having your photos done, is done totally differently. Correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Photo shoots are done completely differently than day of weddings, and where you don't want it to look crusty. You don't want to put a whole lot of hairspray in the hair where everybody's like, oh my gosh, use a whole can of hairspray. No, that's really not the answer. But, you can go ahead and go in your bathroom and use your hairspray to annihilate what we just did.
And yet, when
but,
Dusty tells them the way it has to be done, or we should do it this way, and they don't listen, then they complain why it didn't last or why wasn't the job bad.
Yeah.
Because you didn't listen to them.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the hardest part of this job is just,
But we smile.
It's just
like,
trusting
"Don't
the
tag me on
professional. Yeah. Oh my gosh, exactly. Where you're like, I can see your hairspray bubbles from like 10 feet away because we told you not to do that. But,
Future brides and bridesmaids, leave the Aquanet at home.
Yes. Unless you want a mohawk, because then Aquanet is the bomb.
It is. I use that and rave.
Yes, rave too. Yeah.
So I want to ask you guys this now. You talked about it before with the Yelps and the reviews, the Wedding Wire, all your different reviews on Facebook. It could be a review or it could be a compliment. But what is one of the best compliments or review that you've ever gotten, or that made you guys like, wow, this is awesome? And maybe you have to think about that for a second. So maybe me and Mike will look at each other.
Because one just happened. I have it actually on my phone. The bride texted me. I don't have my phone. I did a wedding a couple weeks ago, and I've been doing this since '96, and it was the first time I did finals with the bride like 3 times. She was at this beautiful venue. She had a wedding planner, like 3 photographers, 2 videographers, the maitre d', myself. And I walked in, and my personality. And I'm like, yo, I'm not going to say names to the bride. What's up? You freaking ready? We're going to rock this party. And she looked at me like she wanted to kill me. She had the flu. Got it 2 days before the wedding. Oh. She was dead. Could not do anything. And she was trying so hard to smile. And her wedding, without the ceremony, was 6 hours.
Oh, man.
And we just started. She went to the bridal suite to sleep it off. Maitre d' was kind of like not helpful, but like, giving us a hard time. And me and the wedding planner said, I will get this shit done. And I'm going to rock this wedding for her and do what I got to do to make her love it and be happy, even though she can't. It was so bad, the photographer took pictures with her and her family without her and left the space between her and the groom and superimposed her in the pictures later because she was so deathly sick. I got her out. I did everything I had to do, and I waited on her hand and foot like I was her doctor. Every time we had to do something, I went over to her. Do you want to drink? Do you want to go to the bathroom? Do you want to do this now? And she loved every minute of it. And then 3 days later, she texted me this big, long thank you. And like made me almost cry because I wasn't just like an MC or a DJ. Like I was comforting her and being a family member to get her through it. And she was sad that she couldn't enjoy it, but she said, you did such a great job that my guests loved it, and I wish I could enjoy it more.
Wow. Above and beyond.
That's awesome. Yeah.
We go above and beyond. We love our job, even though there's times that it's stressful and people tell us what to do, and we want to kill them, but we love what we do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
And you don't get a do-over. You know, it's one shot. That's it.
Exactly.
So, a lot of the times you just have to just go above and beyond just to make the day amazing, no matter what.
We're doing this multiple times a year. But we have, people get I know a lot of photographers that are out there who just get jaded, they get tired of doing it. But
Yeah.
you got to realize this is their couple's only time they're going to do this.
Absolutely.
Most of them.
That's
going to be
what's
the
cool
only
about
time.
it.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
traditionally, you know.
Yeah,
Well,
see-
a lot of them get divorced, come back to us, and
Yeah.
I get the second wedding. It's amazing.
But you just try to remember this is their only wedding day they're going to have.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
That's what I like about this room because I meet so many people. We deal with photographers and videographers, and a lot of them are like recovering people who were doing the wedding thing and they just learned to hate it. And what's cool about you guys is that you've been doing it for decades and you're
Yeah.
still so passionate.
I love
That's why
it.
you're perfect for this show.
Absolutely.
But that's why we need a day off, like on Easter. Don't call.
yeah, I mean, just weddings, you're going to love them or you're going to hate them. There's no in
Yeah,
between.
When I see here, it's a Friday afternoon. It's 94 degrees outside, and Benny's leaving. He's draped in black from head to toe
Yeah.
like Johnny Cash, and I'm like, dude,
I know.
how do you do this, man? I'm going to catch.
Yeah.
I think too, like in the hair industry with brides, you don't get return clients unless they're a bridesmaid or something else. So it's awesome when you have a group of girls that sticks together and they're all bridesmaids in each other's weddings, and you get to do them over and over and
You get
over.
to know 'em a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think, as far as the reviews and whatever, they all tend to like mesh together after a while, but it's really like those referrals and the groups that you get to do over and over. I have a sister coming up. I did her sister's wedding, I want to say in 2009 or 2010. And, so like 8 years later, she's reaching out to me because she's getting married, and she remembered that, she loved what I did with her hair. And I mean, how many weddings has she been in those 8 years
Right.
where,
Opportunities to find others.
where she,
You're
it's
not
like,
just
nope,
a
I need
hairstylist. You're
Dusty.
building a rapport with them. We're like friends and
Absolutely.
family after
Right.
this.
You
They
become
find us
either-
on Facebook. They friend us. They talk to us. Benny sees them again after the wedding because she's got to do albums, and they come back to us because we're like nurturing them and we help them out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And on the island, everyone's cousins are like their own sisters and
Oh, yeah.
brothers. So,
Yeah.
they start just
It's a small
handing
island.
you around. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm dying to know how you get the name of your business.
Oh, all right. So, in beauty school, my daughter was about a year old, and we called her our little monkey. And then my husband's a city fireman, so that's kind of where the fire came from. So I was like, all right, well, let's kind of do something as like a nod to them to, thank them for sacrificing with me as I was going through night school. And then I looked up like the Chinese astrological, fire monkey sign, and it really had a lot of the same qualities that I wanted to like show off as far as my business, where, a little bit funky, a little bit intense, just very much focused and, stuff like that. And I also wanted something that stood out in the bridal world where it's not
Yeah.
just
That sticks.
bridal
I'm never
by
gonna forget that.
so and
Yeah,
so,
you see that on
or
Instagram, yeah.
That's
absolutely,
amazing.
but
like-
a little funky also. I mean,
I never heard
my
that
name.
story, but I had
No,
a feeling
yeah,
I knew that.
feeling.
Wow.
I knew it, but I never heard that.
That's yeah.
Hear you say it.
I mean, my name too stands out, Dusty. I mean,
Right.
but
How many people like
good.
hair by
How many-
Jess,
yeah.
hair by Jen?
Elegant
but
styles.
that's absolutely and.
But I'm going to remember this now.
Yeah, where it's not all elegance. Also, if you want a mohawk, hey, I can do
Let's
a
go.
mohawk. If you want a little something funky, I can do
I
that.
want a mohawk
But
on my chest now.
yeah, right.
Now,
but
Benny Migs, same
yeah,
question.
Catchy.
Benny Migs photo. I'm dying to know where you got the name of your.
Well, like I said earlier, my eighth grade history teacher, gave me the name Migs, and
There you go.
because he couldn't pronounce my last name,
Yeah.
and it just kind of stuck with me.
Did you ever
and
go back to him, like knock on the door of your old high school?
You changed my
Eighth
life.
grade, it was
Give him
junior
a
high.
hug.
Junior high.
You changed my life. Thanks for the branding.
I think before I had that, it was like aggressive photo or something like that when I was.
This is better.
Yeah, that's a little
I
scary.
love it.
So I guess you just stick it on to Phil now.
Oh, don't ask me. You don't want to know.
After hours. I'm sure you do a bunch of stuff after hours.
In '96, when I decided to go full time and start the company because I was working for other DJ companies, and I'm like, I'm going to do my own. I had to come up with a name because I was going to the state to file my paperwork to become a business. I was laying down on my bed because I was a young kid and I was watching Playboy TV at night. I'm like,
all scrambled.
yeah, all scrambled because my parents can afford that channel. And you heard the Playboy commercial come up, After Hours. I'm like, what a great name. And you saw the girl like naked walking across the screen. I'm like, I'm going to go with After Hours.
Totally just beat us both.
That
of
is,
And that's how it came up. in
I need a
96.
new story now.
Oh
Playboy's gonna send
man.
you a cease and desist now.
Yeah, no. All right, so could we do a checklist now, kind of like, if as a person who's engaged now and is getting married, like what is the first things you should do? Is it immediately start looking for vendors, get your look at your venues? Like, what's some of the first steps? Do you guys first off recommend a wedding planner? Like, I know I just asked like 5 questions, but
This is gonna be interesting coming
start with Benny.
Dust, because I want to hear Dusty's aspect from a bride's point of view as well too.
Oh, all right.
But I think just as I would think usually first thing you want to do is get a date and a venue.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to start.
Typically,
how
after
far in advance?
Well, no, hold on. Can I stop you? You have to contact your favorite vendors first, see when they're available. Benny, you did my sister's wedding. Dusty, you did my sister's cousins, and this one's here. When you guys free? Because I do get a lot of that now.
Yes.
Being that we've been around for a long time, and we get people that talk and talk. You got to use Benny, blah, 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 and then go book your date and venue.
I've had clients book their date around my
Yep.
availability as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that I think I guess it would be the second or third person they might come to. It might vary, when do they usually come?
Date
Usually when
venue.
they come to you.
Date, venue, photo, DJ, and the church.
Yeah.
If they're doing a church.
Yeah, normally like hair and makeup is one of the last things, which is
'cause
funny
they gotta
because
see-
that's one of the most important things as far as how you look the day of.
But let's tell everybody they really should book a year in advance because they got to do their trial.
Yes.
Because hair tones and colors change.
But I think the most awesome time to do a trial also is when you have a dress fitting. So really it's, book your hair and makeup people like about on average like a year, 9 months out. Don't wait because, once we're gone, we're gone.
Right.
But then wait with your trial until you do have a dress fitting so that you can see the whole package. Your hair up may not look good with your dress. Your hair down may not look good with your dress.
Great
And
advice.
then you are much closer to the wedding so that you're not doing a trial like a year out and then your whole head ends up changing by the time you get to your wedding and you got to start all over again.
Your head ends up changing.
Your whole head, your hair, you could cut your hair off. It could be a different color. You could, I don't know, your texture may change. You may grow, 8 inches in that year. Who knows? But things get different. And then there's, Pinterest where you're looking at Pinterest every single day and you may end up doing, 6 trials because you just see all kinds of different things and you have no idea. A year out, it's very hard to narrow down your hairstyle.
Does the trial cost money?
The trial does cost money. It's a discounted rate from the day of because it's more of a rough draft play session, just to be able to see, are you going to like this style on your head? The finishing's not there. A lot of, the staying power is not necessarily there, so it is cheaper than the day of.
That's your question on the trial because I think so. I recommend Dusty, and if I have a bride coming to me, and I think I recommended a bride once get her trial the day of the engagement shoot. Was that a good or a bad thing to do that?
It's a good thing because then it's a discounted rate to get your hair done for your engagement shoot. But then it also can be, a bad thing because you're not going to wear your hair the same way you are, for your engagement shoot. I wouldn't think so. But then also you do your engagement shoot way sooner than, you would. So the best time really is to do when you have a dress fitting. And then you can kind of see a rough draft of the total package.
Sure. Because I don't know if I'm going to wear a spaghetti strap or halter top. I want to look good.
So as a
it's gotta
bride,
work.
did you pick your dress first or your venue first?
I picked. What did I pick? Oh my gosh, it was so long ago. Well, we had issues with our venue because we had to postpone our wedding a couple times. We were a military couple. So I did get my dress, I want to say first, and it was kind of on accident because one of my friends was like, hey, let's go try on dresses. You're engaged now.
Right, but when you know, you know.
Yeah,
Get it.
yeah. I tried on 2 dresses and that was it. I wasn't even thinking about it. But this, this was before the internet was kind of a thing too. I'm totally dating myself, but
Been doing this for 30 years.
yeah, this is way crazy. We weren't looking at dresses on the internet, but I had my venue picked out. I had this style that I wanted, and then I kind of went from there.
Nice.
So yeah.
One more question for you guys. We talked about this off air before the show, but there are some dates out there. I had mentioned, when did September 11th become acceptable to have a wedding? Did that take a couple years? You said Friday the 13th, the day before Thanksgiving. What are some bargain dates for people that kind of want to have their dream wedding but can't really afford it? And that they don't want to do it on a Sunday night or a Tuesday night.
Well, Dusty was saying she's doing a lot of Tuesday weddings. So
Yeah, a lot of Tuesdays this year, a lot of Thursdays this year. And whenever I'm available, I'll really do it. My major holidays that I don't do weddings: Mother's Day, Halloween, and Christmas. Those are the 3 days that I
Right.
absolutely do not work.
A lot of brides are sticking to holidays because they don't think about vendors, like, oh, we just work wherever. When we do, every vendor's different, whether you have a family or not. I don't. I'm not married. I have no kids, so I'll work any day. But I do like my days off, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Easter, yes, Mother's Day, Halloween, I work, 4th of July. But your question being, what do brides look to book? Do they get a deal or a discount? We do a lot of Thanksgiving Eve weddings on a Wednesday. There's no special deal. It's just a Wednesday night. Yeah. They don't get a special deal from anybody. If you want to give them a deal, you can. We do a lot Memorial Day, Labor Day. Those are holidays.
But the venues will give them a deal for a Wednesday.
Yes or no. It really depends. If it's a plain
Depends on
Wednesday, they
demand.
will,
Gotcha.
But if it's a holiday like, 4th of July and it's a Saturday, they're going to charge you regular, if not more, or New Year's Eve.
Right.
Same thing.
I do the same work regardless if it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. So
Absolutely.
my job's the same thing.
Well, we all do, yeah.
Yeah, so I charge the same.
Yep.
If anything, I would charge more for a holiday. I got a call this Christmas morning. I got a call.
Right.
Want to know if I could shoot a wedding that day. I'm like, sorry, I'm closed today. I did answer the phone, but I'm like, I'm sorry, it's Christmas. I'm taking a day off.
But yeah, a lot of
you can answer
brides,
the phone.
like you said, are looking for dates to have their weddings that are, holidays, or it's an off day. Like Thursdays, we do a lot of weddings on Thursdays, and we'll cut a deal because it's not a special day; it's just a plain Thursday.
Yeah, I know both my brothers got married in November.
Right.
Because it was like right after the cutoff of like the prime season. So they got
Yeah.
married like November 20th.
See, that's
or something.
dying out. Years and years ago, people would come up
There
to
was
us and
a
be like, "Oh
season.
my God, my wedding's February, or my wedding's in December around Christmas. It's real cheap right now. You're gonna give me a deal?" And like Benny said, I do the same job that I do on a Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Mother's Day, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve. No matter what, I do 110%. So these are my prices.
Yeah.
Well, can I give you a bit of a deal if it's February and we're dead? I don't have any weddings in the season. Yeah, I could bend a little on the price.
Where's the best place in the island to have a winter wedding?
Winter?
wedding.
Yeah.
Oh, so a lot of people think that the summer is the biggest time of year for weddings, and it's actually summer sucks in Long Island.
Yeah, summer
Fall.
sucks. Even the
Fall.
weather, the humidity,
When all
the
the
rain,
teachers
it's
Yeah.
get married, they can't
bad.
Get off.
Get some pumpkins.
I'm busiest. I'm sure you guys too. Probably from September through November is my busiest time
Yep.
of year. Not that we don't shoot in summer. Obviously we do.
But best time of the year for the weather,
Winter.
too.
I mean, I'm a big East End guy. I like the Hamptons, like Montauk, and most of my clients are the same way. We kind of have the same vibe. I like the whole barn style wedding.
Yeah.
So I like doing that. And I like any winter,
Snow
summer. I
on
don't
the
care what time of
ground.
year
Wow,
it
that
is.
sounds nice. Barn style wedding.
Yeah.
Snow
Yeah.
on the ground.
Yeah.
Maybe you get pulled up in a sleigh with horses.
Rudolph.
Do it, bro.
I like the vineyards. The vineyards, people think they're cheaper, but there's a lot more work
It's the
going
same.
on in the
Yeah.
vineyard. You
Plus
might
that
be at the same
site
price,
fee,
but it's a
right?
lot more
Site
work.
fee, bring in your own stuff.
Yeah, there's only one vineyard on the island that has in-house catering, which is Raphael's.
Yeah.
Everything else, you have to outsource everything.
Even
Beautiful
with a
place.
cater, like I always likened the wedding to throwing 10 balls up in the air, and they all have to fall in the same hole in order,
Yeah.
in a certain order. So to do everything a la carte, like at a vineyard, it's like 20 balls in the air. And I don't even
That's
know
when
how-
you'd
it's
need, like, a
little
wedding
miracle every time
planner.
These things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, my experience of wedding planners, they could make today or they could break today.
Yeah. You know what? And if you're doing it all on your own, that's when you would need one. But when you're dealing with all these venues, they know what they're doing. From the smallest little detail to whatever. So there's really not necessarily a need as far as setting up and day of, because the venues have got it down, and all the vendors and stuff, they all
You're right.
know what they're doing.
But I find a lot of my clients, and a lot be Asian clients as well, and brides, when they're very, very, very OCD and strict, and they have a timeline, they love getting wedding planners involved. And like a week before the wedding, I get a PDF document from like 4:04 a.m. Bride wakes up. 4:05 brushes her teeth. Hair at 6 a.m. And I have the whole day. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm just a DJ. I don't need this.
Yeah, everybody's contact
Right.
information.
And then when we start, and Betty and I are at the reception, and it's like 8:05 first dance, 8:07 the bride goes to the bathroom, 8:10 speeches, and I look at the bride and I throw it on the floor. I go, this is not happening,
Nope.
and it never works out the way that we have on the paperwork.
I mean, there's a typical
True.
flow to a reception. And
Yep.
Typically, starts you have your cocktail hour, which is usually your traditional is before the ceremony. Some Jewish ceremonies do it they do the cocktail hour after the ceremony, or vice
No,
versa.
first, then the
Ceremony. Yeah,
But
after.
either way, your typical Long Island wedding is cocktail hour. Then we it's usually always at the same spot as the party itself.
Right.
Then they do entrances, right, Phil? At the entrances, we go to first dance.
Mm-hmm.
First dance, we usually go to toast if there's toast, or
Or blessing.
blessing. After that,
Dinner orders.
partying for a while.
Yeah,
the
dance.
first after the blessing, they do dinner orders. 2 hours into the party is
then we're
main
dancing
course.
right till dinner.
An hour after main course is cake cutting.
Yep.
And then parent dances, garden bouquet if you do that. That's usually the end of the day for me.
Right. And
that's
then we
kinda
dance
what
to the end.
Yeah.
and
Then
you're
Living
out.
on a Prayer comes on, and we start to wind it down.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting cold in here. We have to turn the heat off for the show. Sorry, go ahead.
That's right. But see, that's the thing. And again, these are our clients, brides and grooms, only do this once. You know, I do 500 weddings a year. I do this all the time, but I can't say that to them and be like, I know better. Right. You can just guide them. But they put their trust in you after they know you and they meet with you several times, and you could just run with it and do what you have to do and let the client know what we're doing next, this and that. But we do get a lot with the day of coordinators and wedding planners and brides feed into that and give us a list of everything they got to do. Benny, take photos at 10:05. I want to go outside by the lake. I want to go in the water. I want to do this with my dress. I'm like, this is not happening. And 9 out of 10, every wedding, nothing ever goes the way it's planned. It's great. We rock it out. But you look at the timeline, and we never got to 10:45 to do everything.
And I schedule a lot of extra time in my day, too, because for stuff like that, if the hair and makeup has an issue.
Yep.
And if we've done early, we've done early.
Just running late.
Yeah, we
People
got some
late.
time to kill. I just always build that extra time into the schedule.
Yep.
Just so in case there's a problem, it's cushioned.
Absolutely.
What's the most unique weddings that you guys have been to? Has it been like has there been like an awesome backyard wedding that you guys are like, wow, this is great? Or is there, some unique places that kind of like resonate to you as mine? Or is there not? I don't know.
Oh, there is. Depends on your feel, you know? So getting back to what Benny said about the whole farm and the vineyards out east, that's a very rustic feel. I do a lot of weddings out there, and during the cocktail hour, they're outside. There's horses running around in the stable. It's pretty cool. Then you have your Long Island in the middle of the island where it's just a cookie-cutter catering hall wedding. You walk in, it's a tile room, it's great, whatever. It looks ornate. The bride's happy. Everything's structured, everybody goes home, and there's nothing different about the wedding.
I went to a wedding on a mountaintop in New Paltz. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah. It was just kind of.
How are weddings in California, Dusty, compared to here?
That's what I wanted to ask before. Remember I said
Similar. I know. I tried to help one of my friends do her wedding, and this was after I had my wedding. So trying to do what I did here was probably going to cost about 4 times as much. They don't have the wedding venues that we do. They do more of you rent the site, you bring in your own food. And then alcohol. No one does open bar. No one. You either pay per drink that the bartenders keep tabs on, you bring your own alcohol, or it's a cash bar. So they do a lot of, vineyards and stuff where you rent it and bring all your stuff in. But it's been weird doing weddings in California where I know how the morning flows, and normally I end up taking charge like a wedding planner. Yeah. I tell them what time everybody has to be here, this and that, whatever else, and touch base with the photographer too, and let them know like, hey, I'll have my bride done at this time and whatever. So I really, like I said before, I really do think that Long Island does it right. From start to finish, and everybody working together. We know exactly what we're doing.
It's a cultural thing that's reflected in the way,
right.
we perform on nuptials. I remember I went to school in Delaware, and just the idea of buying rounds was something like my friends from Delaware couldn't even wrap their heads around.
Yeah, exactly.
They do that. They just go up individually. And
people in culture
buy their
shock
own
when
drink.
they come to New York. They have no idea. They can't fathom what we do. I get a lot of brides out of state, Cali, Florida, Texas, upstate, and they come here to have their weddings because they met their significant other that lives here. And then they sit down. When I tell them how we run a wedding, they look at me like I have 10 heads.
Oh, yeah.
Especially from Cali. They go, oh, we don't sip and eat for 3 hours and just dance the last 2? I go, no, what are you talking about? They go, why do you want to do it that way? I'm like, you're in another state. This is the way we do things.
We attended a wedding in Seattle, my husband and I, and the DJ was so horrible. My husband ended up grabbing the microphone and taking over.
See? Yeah.
Where between the two of us, we did the bouquet toss and all this other stuff.
And it's a shame because
my friend was like, thank God, because things are dying. And my husband was like, we cannot let this go on. It was crazy.
I had a bride contact me. She was here and she saw us do a wedding, and she lived in Pennsylvania, in some rural neighborhood I never heard of. I don't even think they have water. I don't know. And she's like, you have to do my wedding. Everything I saw, I loved. And I said, not for nothing, you saw us here at a catering hall. For that package here was $4,500. She saw, the DJ MC, the drummer, strings to the ceremony. We had a photo booth, and I go, "Where do you live?" And she gave me the address, and I Googled this. I'm like, "You're like 6 hours away. Travel, staff, me to bring all that just to tie up almost 2.5 days on the weekend. I need at least 10 grand." And she was like, "I'm not spending that much on my catering hall." And I dropped the phone and laughed, you know. But that's Pennsylvania. That's a different state. But they all love what New Yorkers do, and it's a shame because I think everybody should just live in Long Island.
Just like, Phil, I'm sure you've done some weddings like Connecticut and stuff. And
Amazing.
one thing that bugs me doing a
What?
wedding outside of the New York metro area,
Yeah.
when maitre d's don't know what they're doing.
True.
When it comes to cake cutting, and
Yes.
I have to set up the cake cutting,
It's funny.
it drives me crazy.
It's funny Benny says that because I do a lot in Connecticut and New Jersey, and they have a lot of beautiful catering
Yeah.
halls. Amazing. But they're so laid back. Even though they do weddings, they see us load in and do stuff. They're like, "Oh, my God." And Benny's right. We have to step in and say, "Oh, do this." And they go, "Wow, I love the way you did that. We never did that before." I'm like, "Where do you live? In a freaking rubber room?"
Like the simple cake cutting, when usually the maitre d' explains to the bride and groom how to cut the cake.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be at weddings, and like the cake comes out, and there's just no one there. The bride and groom, like, what do I do?
Right.
So me or Phil can step in,
Yeah.
just kind of tell them how to cut the cake, what to do, where to look.
Step aside.
One cool thing that the West Coast does, they do bridal portraits still.
Yes.
So like 2
not
weeks
just the West
prior,
Coast.
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm more familiar with it with that just from following different hairstylists. But like 2 weeks prior to the wedding, the bride gets all dressed up, hair, makeup, everything. She may or may not be with her groom or her bridal party, but she meets with a photographer, gets tons of pictures done. So there's not a whole lot of first looks going on.
Wow.
Yes, which is awesome for hairstylists because then you have a little bit more freedom as far as softer looks, this, that, whatever else. So that's kind of cool.
Trying to get a New York bride to wear her dress before the wedding because it's
forget
so
it.
hard.
Yeah.
I've tried it. I'm like, just rent something, buy a second dress, a cheaper dress, just do it.
We should do wedding dress parties after the wedding.
I'm actually in the, all right, so just a little,
Pub crawl, Benny. We still doing it soon.
I talked to all these brides and bridesmaids that have these dresses. They sit in the closet for years. I'm like, we should have a pub crawl, like a bridesmaid
Absolutely.
dress pub crawl.
Yeah,
girls, put your dresses back on. I got a lot of divorced girls who want to
Yeah, me too,
dresses.
yeah.
Just have a pub crawl and we'll do like a big group bridal party photo in the middle of Main Street one night.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When a divorce party is going to be a thing?
I'll tell you, if you want to go down that route. Last year, I had 10 cancellations. This year, I only had one already for April. They called off the wedding. So what happens is you never know what's going to happen. We're all human. That's why we take deposits. They're non-refundable, sad to say. But a lot of my brides I become so friendly with and tight with, they go, "Phil, what can I do?" And I take the money and I use it towards another party they're having. And I tell them, have a backyard party. Is your sister having a party? Is she having a sweet 16? Is your mom turning 40 or 50? Have a birthday party. A lot of the brides, when it's real close to the wedding, in my lifetime, I've done 2 or 3 where they went through with the wedding. The bride showed up in a black dress, changed all the limos to black.
Oh, yes.
Out of the whole wedding, if it was 300 people, it was only 150. It was just the bride side of the family. And then we just walked in, and I played I Will Survive, Respect, We Will Rock You, get this party going, no slow stuff. And we just trashed the groom. I asked her if she has a poster of him. We throw darts. A lot of them don't do it. That's just the way I think.
That is awesome.
And we go through with the party because think about it. You paid for the photographer. You paid for your hair. You got to get it done. You paid for the food.
Yeah,
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Go through with it, I say.
Throw a party?
Yeah, if someone cancels, my refunds are non-refundable, but I do give them a credit they can use within a year. If they want to do portraits or something else, I don't just do weddings, I do portraits too. Yeah. Or if it's doing something else on there, I'll give them that credit. They'll have a year to use that credit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, we're wrapping up the podcast now. If you guys want to go one by one, tell us, where to find you, your website, and all that. Get to social media. Benny, go ahead.
Benny.
All across the board, I'm Benny and Migs Photo. That's with 1G, BennyMigsPhoto. It's Facebook, Instagram, and my website. I don't do Twitter. Snapchat I'm on, but it's not really business stuff.
That's not, you're right.
Yeah, I've seen your snaps.
That's
more interesting than his Instagram.
And we're currently in my studio, 58 Waverly, Patchogue, New York.
Yes.
Yes.
Benny's awesome. He's doing some photo shoots with me in the buff, and he's going to do my bris.
Yeah, we're doing a Doudoir.
Yeah.
Dude, wow.
I'm going to do the George Costanza pose on the couch.
The velvet couch.
Did you give the website? Your website?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Oh,
Make some jokes, man. I want to make some jokes.
yeah, exactly. Come on. You can find me, same thing, on social media, Yelp, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, After Hours DJ Music. The website is afterhoursent.com. We're located in Bethpage, Plainview, Ronkonkoma. Call us. We're here every day, 11 to 11, even on the weekends. I have no life. Come book me.
And Fire Monkey Hair Designs, same thing across the board. Facebook, Instagram, my website, firemonkeyhairdesign.com. Easiest way to get a hold of me is email info@firemonkeyhairdesign.com. But yeah, Google it too. It's all over.
Awesome. Benny, Phil.
I have one
Dusty.
question I want to ask Phil before we leave.
Okay, go ahead,
One of
go
the
ahead.
first times I met Phil,
Yeah.
that's nothing bad.
Oh.
I want to see if he's still off
He's
it.
bracing himself.
It was at the end of the night. There's a coffee truck pulls
Yeah,
up.
the
like,
snack truck, yeah.
This guy has a coffee truck. It opens up. There's McDonald's in it, candy.
Remember that? Yeah.
It was insane. That was probably the first time I met Phil. Like, this guy is
That was
up my
awesome.
alley.
AfterHoursSnackTruck.com. I got 3 trucks. If you want Taco Bell, McDonald's, fast food,
That's
Chick-fil-A, we have it all. Candy.
That's the best after
Yeah,
a wedding.
it's awesome.
Yeah, after my brother's wedding, I ordered like hundreds of dollars worth of Taco Bell to the house, but it'd been so much better if
Yeah.
it was already there.
It's amazing. You got to think outside the box too during weddings. You got to
Outside
do
the
different
bun?
things. You know, outside the bun. Yeah.
So Nick, are you sold?
Yeah, no.
This is a big audition for Nick's wedding.
Sure. Dusty already knows what she's gonna do with Nick's hair. We're gonna do like
It's gonna be
right?
fabulous.
Yeah.
But no, thank you all of you guys. It's been helpful. And for Benny, Phil, Dusty, this is the 495 podcast. Thank you again for all being here. And anyone that's listening, to follow us further, we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify. You can find us on our website at greaterlongisland.com. So thank you very much for joining us.
You know, for Mike and Nick, congratulations for Nick. He's engaged, getting married.
Absolutely.
We see you at the bachelor party in Vegas.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks.
Strongest that I've ever felt before. In my current state and in these days of war, we must grow together or the end is near. Thicken up your skin and loosen up your fears. I've been waiting through my limitations, choosing to move.